Hello, and welcome back to the Hello Velocity podcast, where we help corporate women level up without burning out. I'm your host, Brittany Knaski, leadership coach and trainer here at Hello Velocity. And today we're continuing our conversation about stress and burnout, but I want to focus in on how technology is stressing us out. It's something we've touched on previous episodes in this season, maybe here or there a little bit, we've covered it. But I want to do more of a deep dive today because I think it is one of those huge topics that isn't really being talked about enough when it comes to burnout and stress. And it's something that was part of my own burnout journey last year that I've talked about a little bit. And I've really seen a lot of positive change for myself and for some of my clients when we've been talking about technology and our relationship to it and how we need to shift that to protect our energy and protect ourselves and our stress levels. And it's something I think a lot of us also are just kind of on automatic with it, and we're not really thinking about it. So we're going to be challenging your relationship with technology today, challenging how you think about it, how you relate to it, and what you're allowing in your space. So 3 different areas I want to cover today when it comes to technology and stress is this, first of all, is this idea of we're always accessible with technology right now. Second is our work communications and how different forms of technology are stressing us out that way. And then lastly, the big one, social media. Yes, I know you knew it was coming, and it's something we need to be talking about for sure. But the first one, let's talk about this idea of always being accessible. It's really this idea of always being on. You're always available to other people. You always have your phone on you, and so many people now too have some sort of smartwatch. And to me, what I've found is that this honestly, for me personally, causes me anxiety to always have my phone on me, to always be getting notifications, to always be accessible. And it's this idea of really other people are in control of your time and attention when you really think about it this way. So we need to find pockets of time without technology, without notifications, so that we can control our attention, we can control our energy, and what's coming to us. You know, when we're constantly being bombarded by different notifications, technology, calls, texts, emails, whatever it is, that is pulling your attention from the present moment. And that's one of the big things I notice with technology, with smartwatches especially, is that you could be in conversation with someone and they're getting a notification and they're stopping to read it while talking to you. So they're pausing what they're saying in mid-conversation to read something that's likely not important or urgent. And then they can finish their sentence after that, or they lose their train of thought. But really, it's just pulling you from that connection. It's pulling you from that present moment, whether you're in conversation with someone or not. Maybe you're trying to be focused at work. Maybe you're spending time with your kids, whatever it is. When you have those notifications constantly popping up, it's really just pulling you from that present moment. So I know it's hard enough as it is for us high-achieving women to set boundaries, and this is really another boundary conversation. What are those boundaries that you need to have when it comes to technology? So some places for you to look. First things first, let's think about all the times you are using your phone when you might be better off not even looking at your phone. And I'm talking about, yes, when you are in bed, whether it's going to sleep at night or waking up first thing in the morning, are you checking your phone? Are you scrolling social media? Again, we're going to dive into social media a bit more later, but if that's the first thing you're consuming in the day or the last thing you're consuming before going to sleep, that's impacting how you're feeling, what you're thinking about, what you're stressing about. It's, again, other people deciding what you need to be thinking about, what you need to be worried about, and what kind of emotions you're feeling. It's like, honestly, I felt that a lot. That's why I've talked about this before. I took my social media apps off my phone last fall. And it was because my anxiety and burnout were really high. And this was just one of those areas I found I was going to for comfort. And it ended up stressing me out more. And it was causing me anxiety. So I took them off. And honestly, I'm not looking back still. It's been a good 6 months. And I found I feel so much better without it. So especially thinking about your phone. Are you bringing it to bed? And why? What are you getting from that? Likely nothing. Likely it's a distraction from something else. So first things first, let's not bring our phones to bed. Let's not look at them in bed. It's impacting your sleep. It's impacting your stress. That is my number one recommendation. Second of all, let's think about those notifications. Go through your phone. If you can right now, pull up your settings app on your phone. What apps are you allowing to even notify you? How can you cut it down by 10%, by 20%, by 50%, by 80%? What are maybe the 5 to 10 apps that you actually need notifications from? Do you really need to know the minute a package is shipped to you? No. Does it matter? No. You'll probably see it in your email within an hour or two anyways, so you don't need up to the minute notifications. Do you really need to know the second someone likes a post on social media? No, I guarantee you, you do not need to know that. You do not need to interrupt your day to learn anything about social media. What about news notifications? Do you need to know the minute? Maybe, if you're comfortable with that, if it's not triggering you. But is it something that's just causing more stress and anxiety throughout your day when you're constantly being told about terrible things happening in the world? Again, you're going to find out about it probably within an hour or two when you check your email, or maybe once a day you go into a news app and don't have the notifications. Remember? Maybe you don't remember, but for most of us, even growing up or a few generations ago, people found out about the news once a day in a newspaper that they read in the morning at their own leisure, right? How can we cut down some of this? Our society has just gone to everything is urgent. We have to know everything as soon as it happens, and then we have to comment about it, and we have to hear other people's opinions immediately. This is just not sustainable, I think, for most of us. It's just too much consumption. It's too much coming at us, and we're not filtering it anymore. So where can you start filtering what's coming to you? For me, the only few apps that actually notify me on my phone are text, calls, and calendar notifications, my Ring doorbell app, so if someone's at my door, and then I think my washing machine app to tell me if my wet clothes are still in the washer and I need to put them in the dryer. That one is very helpful for me because I do tend to forget. And I think that's about it. There may be one or two other ones, and I really try to limit it down. I used to have email notifications, and I'm so glad I don't have those anymore because 99% are not urgent, and I'm checking email when I'm at my computer anyways. So let me challenge you again. Think about what those notifications are. What do you actually need? What are actually urgent that you need to know within a few minutes of it happening, and which ones are just stressing you out? Then there are other resources you can use to help you limit that amount of time on your phone, no matter what the app is that is distracting you. I like to use the app called Opal. I know it's ironic using an app to limit your use of other apps, but it's really helped me. And you can choose which apps you want to limit, and it can be either certain times of the day you don't have access to it, or you're only allowed to open it a certain number of times a day, or you're only allowed to open it for a certain amount of time per day. So that was super helpful for me when I was first cutting down on social media to just lower my consumption. And I also did that with my news app too when I was just spiraling and doom scrolling last year. So I limited how much time I could be reading anything on my news app. And then now even I like to block my email in the morning, so I'm not checking it first thing in the morning when I wake up. That's been really helpful. And yeah, and even thinking about your silent mode. How often are you going on Do Not Disturb so that when you're trying to maybe focus at work, or when you're winding down at the end of the day, or when you're first getting your day started, maybe turning on silent mode, Do Not Disturb, nighttime mode, whatever it is on your phone. Think about which of those can help you to just stay in your own world for a bit and be with your own thoughts and not be consuming immediately when you're starting your day. I've also heard good things about Brick, where it's an actual physical something and it essentially locks it so you're not able to use it for a little amount of time or however long you set. And I've heard from several people that that really helps. And then also you could even consider keeping your phone in a different room throughout the day, maybe when you're working or when you're with your kids at night and you're trying to be more present with them. Do you really need your phone on you? Do you really need to be getting those notifications, especially when your family is all in the same room at the same time? That's probably the time you need your phone least, right? Because everyone you love is right here. You want to be present, and let's simplify that time for you. Make it easy for you. Our second category here is think about all the different forms of communication at work that you have now. For all of us corporate office workers, it's been such an evolution over the past few decades of how communication works. Again, think back to previous generations. It used to be inner office memos that you would print out and send to someone at their office, or it would get sent to them, or, snail mail, things like that when it was working with someone across different companies, or you'd just have snail mail or phone calls. So that was it. Then we had email, and now we have texting, we have phone calls, we have video Zoom or video chats. We have Slack or other IM messaging. And honestly, just listening to all these, it's so overwhelming. We have so many ways to communicate with so many different people, and it makes everything seem urgent. And I want to remind you and challenge you that not everything is urgent. Not everything is urgent. We live in a society that likes to tell us and make us believe that everything is urgent and we have to get everything done immediately, but it's not true. So start to think for yourself, what does urgent mean for you at work? What types of projects, communications are urgent? And then communicate those boundaries that you need to have when it comes to communication. Maybe if it is something urgent, maybe then you can text me, you can call me, or that's when it's best to Slack me because I'll be at my computer. Whatever that is for you, understand what those boundaries are, set them, communicate them, and stick to them the best that you can. And this can also help lower that amount of stress that you're getting from what feels like urgent notifications coming at you all throughout the day. Consider also your notifications at work. Do you need your emails popping up when you're in a meeting? Do you need your emails popping up at all? Do you need those notifications? Because I guarantee you're jumping into your email every few minutes anyway. So do you really need to be notified the minute something comes through? For some people, it is still true. Yes, you need it. So again, use your own judgment for this. But I've seen so many people getting emails all throughout the day, all throughout the meeting. And again, it's pulling you from that present moment when you're maybe presenting in a meeting and you're getting a notification about something entirely different. It's going to throw you off. Is that necessary? Can you put on some sort of silent mode, a do not disturb mode when you're in certain meetings, or when you're in a focus mode and you're trying to get something done? When you need to be in that deep thought mode, maybe turn on some sort of silent mode. It's okay. Most things can wait the hour. It's okay. I promise. All right, now we have social media. This honestly comes up with almost every one of my clients as something that they know they do too much of. They know they spend too much time on it. They know, and it's even their own standards. It's not someone telling them this. It's just, I know I'm using it as a distraction. I know I'm just mindlessly scrolling. I know I'm wasting time on it when there's all these other things over here that I want to be spending my time on, or I want to be more excited about, or I want to be more present with my kids at night. But we use social media usually as some sort of distraction from whatever it is. It's maybe you're avoiding something, maybe you're feeling bored at work, or you don't know how to solve a problem at work, so you pull up social media as a distraction, or just to entertain you when you're doing something you don't like and you try to get that dopamine hit. And yes, social media was built to keep you addicted. It gives you those quick dopamine hits that probably feel good in the moment. But if you stop and think about it, and I challenge you to stop and think about it right now, what are you actually getting from social media? What is it that you want from it? What is it that you're actually getting from it? And are those two things the same? So again, for me, when I broke up with social media a few months ago, it was realizing that the majority of what I was getting from it was anxiety. I was getting all of these things I needed to be worried about, or other people were deciding I needed to be worried about. And really, I was going on there trying to feel connected with friends, to see what my friends were up to get their thoughts. But there were so many other accounts sharing things that were not helpful. And I was getting so many ads and suggested posts that were not people I even knew, or they were ads. They were companies trying to sell me things or be worried about things I didn't want to be thinking about. And again, it just felt like it was bombarding me in my thoughts, and it was not helping me, and I was not feeling closer to friends. So since giving up social media for the last few months, or the apps at least, I can still go on my desktop to see things if I need to, or check notifications for my business accounts. But since giving that up, I've found I'm a lot more intentional with connecting with friends over texting or calling, because it was almost like social media was the thing I thought was keeping us connected, but it really wasn't. And this is just me. Again, think about what it is for you, but I found myself sending photos to friends more often instead of posting them. I'm just sending them to the people that I know will get a kick out of it, or will connect us, or, that I want to share things with. So I've been more intentional with that. And I think a lot of us too, I've heard a lot from Gen Z generation, especially, wanting to go more offline. And it's, having done this now for a few months, I can really see the benefits of it and being a lot more intentional in my relationships. So I want to challenge all of you to think about what you want from social media, what you're actually getting from it, and any adjustments you need to make. You can also consider the things we talked about earlier with the different apps that you can limit the time on your apps for social media, especially. This is really helpful. It could be deleting the apps off your phone. Something else I did before I was limiting the apps was I would move them on my home screen so that I would notice whenever it was just a physical habit of myself without even thinking about it. Sometimes we just pull up our phone and we just go to certain apps without even thinking about it. So if you keep moving them every few days, you'll notice and you'll stop yourself when you hit a different app and you're like, wait, why am I opening this one? Oh, it's just literally a physical habit, like muscle memory, that my thumb wants to go to the social media app because my body is addicted to it. It's really eye-opening to do that. So that could be a great first place to start, just to kind of notice and start to interrupt that pattern or those habits that you have. And then maybe it's limiting them. And then if it makes sense and if you want to, deleting them or whatever it looks like for you, whatever is most helpful for you. Something else that's helped me a ton with getting away from social media is replacing that habit with something else. So again, a lot of times we're just doing it out of boredom or distraction, or maybe wanting something to do to entertain our brain, but we don't know what else to do. So the go-to and the easiest thing is social media or something on our phone. So something that's been helpful for me is just trying to find more things to do with my hands that are not related to my phone. And again, I've heard this theme from Gen Z, I think it's been going around a lot, is having more analog hobbies where it's literally, without screens, right? Without technology. So thinking about some of those for you, what are some things that would excite you? What are some things you can do with your hands so you can't even grab your phone because your hands are busy? And there's another trend of what's called an analog bag, which I think is really cool and interesting. And again, we're just essentially going back in time or pretending to go back in time before we had phones. And the idea of an analog bag is bringing things and activities with you that are screen-free, that are things that you can do when you're maybe sitting on the bus, on the subway, or you're standing in line waiting for something, or just having breaks throughout your day instead of just scrolling on your phone. Because think about whenever you're out in public, I see this all the time, when you're waiting in line for something, when you're on public transportation, you look around, every single person is like this on their phone, right? And why? Again, what are you getting from this? So think about maybe some other activities that are super easy for you to do in the moment that are screen-free. So some ideas I've seen specifically for that analog bag, which essentially just means bringing something with you. Of course, everything needs a trend on social media, and that's why it's called that. But in real life, what are some of those things that you can bring with you? Is it maybe a coloring book, a Sudoku, crossword? Is it just a book to read? Is it knitting supplies, tarot cards, mini crafts, something you can do with your hands? And even for me, I have a few of these activities at home that I like to keep either at the dining room table or by the couch. So if I am watching TV, I'm not just scrolling while watching TV. I'm just doing something with my hands. So I mentioned in previous podcasts, I love doing origami, and it's so satisfying because it can be 5 to 10 minutes. I'm doing it with my hands. I have to follow instructions. It keeps me focused enough. I also have adult coloring books, which are really fun. And I even have one that is sort of like the idea of like a paint by color, but it's for markers and it's little dots in a coloring book. And by the end, it's this beautiful image, but you can't tell that at first when it's just a bunch of dots and letters. And that one's one of my favorites because it really forces me to slow down and do these tiny little dots with the marker, where sometimes when I'm doing a coloring book, it's like, I'm scratching super quick with a colored pencil. And that can be good for other situations or other emotions maybe I'm working through. But when I need to really slow down, I like the dot paint by color kind of idea of a coloring book. Also, I'm doing more reading. I'm walking outside a lot more, or even just something as simple as stretching on the floor while I'm watching TV feels really good and just gets me away from my phone, gets me back in the present moment. And obviously stretching is good for me as well. So there are a ton of ideas of how to help you revisit your relationship with technology, to identify what's working for you, what's not working for you, what needs to change. There's so many resources out there to help you limit your screen time, to limit your social media time, to also revisit those notifications. Like, why are you getting notified the second that someone likes an Instagram post? It doesn't matter. I guarantee you it really doesn't matter. So why are we putting technology on such a pedestal in our lives? Why are we allowing it to consume so much of our attention, so much of our energy, when at the same time we're also saying we wish we had more energy, we wish we were more present and had more time in person with friends and family? You can do that. You still can do it, but it is really a choice, and you need to make a commitment, and it is a lot of dedication to shift your habits. So if you want to talk through more of this, if you need support going through that, you can always reach out to me. And I hope this was helpful for you to think about it. And as we're closing up today, think about what's one way you want to reduce the tech stress in your life. I know I talked about a ton of different ideas, so you have plenty to choose from, but let's just commit to one for now, so we're not overwhelmed by trying to change too many habits. What's one thing from today that you want to move forward with? Thank you as always for listening. And if you liked today's episode, please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and then you'll be the first to know about new episodes each week. That's it for today. We'll see you in the next episode.